Oh no, he's a surly dude.
Well, none of that, Steve.
But I shouldn't run it. I mean, it's just not suited for him. Not him. It's just not him. Questions for Coach?
Mark, what have you seen from Denver, particularly in the last series, defensively, that are going to be challenges for you all in terms of creating your own offense?
A lot of variety. They're a team that has a lot of different schemes that they try to use to throw off the rhythm of their opponent. They came out and played zone the first possession of the first game of the series, which I think makes it pretty clear that they're trying to keep you off balance. And so, you got to stay confident, stay aggressive, and stay on your toes. Continue to play our style regardless of what they're doing. But I thought they did a good job of mixing their looks and trying to keep a team that is pretty good and pretty confident off balance. And I thought at different times it was really effective in that series.
Coach Schleck?
Just your thoughts on the double bigs and like looking back at how you dealt with Denver in those two games that were at home and how that maybe that helped you prepare for this series.
Well, fortunately for us, both teams have a good amount of continuity in their division teams, so we've played them. Played preseason games against them every year, so we've played them a ton and are very familiar with one another. And so we've gotten a wide variety of looks over time against them. It's given us an understanding of kind of what our options are, what the trade-offs are with those options. In a series against a team this good, you're not just like pumping one pitch the entire time. And so we think we have an awareness of our different options. We'll look at some different things at different times, but that's certainly one of them. Being able to put Hart or Chet on Jokic at different times, play them together at different times, is certainly something that we'll take a hard look at.
Have you seen much change in the Nuggets since David Adelman took over as head coach late in the season?
I said this after, before the Memphis series, and would reiterate it. It's more of an allocation difference, than it is like a fundamental difference. It's very difficult for anyone to, fundamentally change a team that late in the season, including the same head coach. If I tried to fundamentally change what we were doing in April, I wouldn't be able to do that. So they're the same team, but they're doing a little bit more of these things. They're doing a little bit less of those things. So he's probably allocating some things a little differently, but for the most part, they're the same team. They get the same players. They get the same habits. They pose the same challenges.
Mark, to follow up on that and completely, acknowledging what you're saying, is it possible that, they've still had like a new breath of life breathed into them with DA taking over, and that they have some sort of new verve from your point of view from afar since he took over?
I'd defer to them on that if they want to answer that question. I'm not in a position to know enough about that. I just know they're a challenging opponent that we're ready to play in the series.
And obviously, there aren't a lot of teams going 9, 10 deep like you guys, but they're down to closer to 7. What have you seen from them as far as how they've been able to sustain their level of play with such a short rotation?
Well, it's a quality 7, with guys that have experience, guys that are really impactful players, and they've introduced different guys at different times, and I would expect them to do that as we head into this series. So we're ready for them past those 7 guys that they kind of close that thing out with. But it's a really quality rotation. They've got experience, they've got offensive firepower, they've got defensive toughness. They're good on the glass. They're good in transition. Obviously, a really good team.
Mark, you're 3-0 in game one. It's kind of what goes into starting the series off on the right foot.
I mean, to be honest with you, the series starts with game one. You know, it doesn't end with game one. At the end of the night, one team will have one win. The series will be far from over either way. We just try to come out and establish our identity, our style of play, establish kind of our habits and our norms, and we try to take a look at some different things in every game one. We try not to white knuckle the whole game and lock into doing one thing. We try to sample some different things and give ourselves some feedback, put our players in some different situations. That's been successful for us. We think we not only have won those games, which would be nice, but we also learned something, as we head into what is a long series. And this one will be a long series as well.
We asked a couple of the Nuggets players. Joker downplayed the time off that you guys had. Said he figured y'all were definitely playing games. Jamal acknowledged it could be some rust, but then talked about the week off they had before they played the Heat in the finals and said they came out on fire. So I guess how do you weigh rest versus rust?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. It's I think both things will subside after, the first half or the first game. I don't think it's a huge part of the series as a whole, but we did the best we could. We've been in this position, obviously, before the Memphis series. We did this last year. We've learned as much as we can. We try to maximize the week of practice. We also try to maximize the rest. We try to build up to the game in a way that's wise and positions us to be successful, but you never know. We did the best we could. The guys did a great job. And so we'll see how it goes.
Mark, the last time these two teams played, the permanent sub thing was something that people talked a lot about. I just wondered, did you get any follow-up from the league or any clarification on those rules?
I know, it was delay a game, and that was, I thought, the right thing to do. These are the 28 best officials in the NBA that are working the second round of the playoffs, so it's not something that I would expect to have to deal with. I think they're going to administer the game fairly and consistently for every team.
And then it's been a while, but AC had a series against Jokic back in the bubble. Hartenstein played with him. Is there any added, value to having guys like that who have been, somewhat working intimately with or against him?
Yeah, they're all data points. Hart, he's one of the things I love about him is when you talk to him about his passing, he'll reference his time with Jokic. When you talk to him about his screening, he'll reference his time with Harden and different guys he's played with. He's just, for a guy that's as good as he is, he's got unbelievable humility to kind of learn from his teammates in that way and acknowledge it, even despite his own individual success. So he wasn't there very long, but obviously knows him a little bit. But I think we have a lot of familiarity with this team, and they have a lot of familiarity with us. We've played them quite a bit, and the core of both teams have been pretty consistent over time.
Anybody else?
All right, thanks.
I was on Denver in October, so I got to be home for a little while, and then Denver won, and I just came right here. So I'll go home, and I'm going to go home after game 2. Unless, the Nuggets. But I'll go home for game 2, and I'll go back out for 4 months. And for 3 weeks in the second round. And he was rested in the spring for you. So I'll go out for 2 or 3 days. Usually get a game or 2. I'll get a game and practice. And I usually kind of parachute into town. And then they really got the series for me this year. I'm like, usually like I have. But I think it's
say I've never been to
This is our story. Is I don't
I've
like
only
just
been in but I always get screwed here.
just write it like a game story and make it. That's just every night, you know.
That's the thing about you.
I mean, for a while
Although
there,
it's
like,
worse
I
than
used to write
Memphis
like
because you're outside.
the story. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we do some of that. I mean, spring break. That's like the most exciting part of reacting to something. You know?
Palm Springs. Chicago.
Memphis is weird. I like the arena.
Yeah, softball. People, that's the just get the link, but dance pictures.
Listen, I have like 36,000.
Oh my god. I should buy
I've got to catch that.
that's one of my yeah. But no,
Chill. I'm not saying time pause.
just get the gap tooth and like, you know, they're six, so
Let's go.
you get so excited when you start third grade.
They're like
I know. That's a good one. And it was softer one.
But no, I have this like
You're telling me. I've got transportation.
That's not the reason I was.
easy to get around. Just
Which way?
go ahead.
David, you guys haven't had to go from a 7-game series into another one on this kind of turnaround since the bubble, really. Can you kind of just take us through what the process and the approach is, kind of turning around from that Game 7 prep-wise versus trying to make sure everyone's kind of in the right physical and mental space?
I mean, don't remind me of the bubble, please. You know what? I don't think the physical part you can control because it's happening so fast. The mental part, you know, I kind of felt like what I saw today from the guys. Look like they're ready to go. They moved on. We talked about it after the game. I thought, you had to enjoy that game that night, that Saturday night. Then Sunday, kind of refocus, take a look at what we can do better against this team through the 4 games we played this season. So we know this is a new challenge. This is the best team in the West over the course of the regular season. So it's quick. It's easier to move on when you know the challenge is coming. Like you don't have time to worry about the schedule and all that stuff. So we're ready to go.
David, Mark just spent a lot of time talking about how familiar the two teams are, playing preseason games, 4 regular season games. So how do you kind of look at those games and parse what is meaningful against what is not?
Yeah, I thought the last 2 games here were very meaningful. And I thought the way that they attacked those games, the way we did, mattered. There was an intensity to those games that felt like a playoff series. It really did. The tactics from going to one game to the next, the way we reacted to them. And obviously, there's a lot of challenges here, and I think the refreshing thing, that's going to sound weird, playing the best team in the league, is that it's a new team. It's almost like you can refocus and kind of enjoy basketball again for a second. When you play the same team 7 times, it is a grind. And you stop talking about play calls. You just talk about, concepts and getting through the game and trying to win a game. So, we know what this is. They know us very well. Obviously, they're better than they were last year. They added pieces, and that showed up in the regular season. It's one of the deepest teams in the league, one of the best offensive and defensive teams in the league. So, I agree with him. Like, we know each other well. We know what this is. Excited to get going.
Do you think you can use the fact that y'all just kept playing as some sort of advantage? Jamal said maybe there might be some rust, but also acknowledged y'all had a week off before you played the Heat and came out on fire.
Yeah, I think the advantage is rest. I mean, I always do. That's part of the NBA. But I do think that the emotion of winning the game we just won and how well we played the first 3.5 quarters was, something to build on as you move into the next series. So, I mean, I hope there's rest for them. I mean, that'd be great. But I expect them to come out full speed, knowing that we've been playing. They haven't been, and that's a major advantage.
Isaiah Hartenstein spent some time with you guys a few years ago. Just curious to know what you remember from his time there and what you think of the type of player he's become since then.
Great guy, great teammate, hard worker. It's really hard to be the backup center for Nikola Jokic, and I think it was good for Isaiah's career, not good for us. That he went elsewhere, and got more opportunity because you get bit minutes with us, and it's just what it is. And not to mention, with Aaron Gordon, capable of playing the backup 5, it's a tough position to be in. And so really cool to see his career, where it's ended up. And for him to come here to this team and this culture they've built, it makes sense that he fits. He's a good dude. Like, seeing him every day was enjoyable. And you can't say that about everybody you work with. I'm not going to name names, but, that's one of the guys I like seeing every day.
Just wondering if you know Mark Daigneault at all, just from coaching circles or time spent in the NBA and over the years.
Yeah, not well. I sat next to him at the head coaches meetings when Mo was out for health reasons. I went to Chicago and sat and talked with him a little bit. Great guy, and I actually coached against him when Mo had COVID years back, and that was a really cool experience because I've had such respect for Mark from watching him build this thing and with the way they've built it with this franchise. So seems like a very humble guy, very organized coach. There's no frills with that team. They do what they're good at, and they do it well. And that's a testament to him. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel here. And, that's part of coaching, is knowing what's best for your group of guys, and he does that extremely well.
DA, because of their depth, do you anticipate having to use your bench a little more maybe than you did in the first series just to keep up with their bodies?
I don't know. I think you have to feel that out as the game goes on. We definitely had a lot of guys prepared, do the walkthrough, talk about if you're in the game, this is the coverages. Because you're right, with this quick turnaround, if we have to use more bodies, to stay in the game, we'll do that. But I do think the interesting thing is if we can stay in the game and we can dictate our pace now we want to play, I think it changes their rotation as well. The closer these games are, the less people you're going to play. So obviously that's been their advantage. The Memphis series, those games got away from Memphis, obviously. We can't let that happen. We have to be sturdy from the beginning, and hopefully that, takes away a little bit of the liberty of just playing, 10, 11 guys in a playoff game.
David, Aaron's calf is an injury that's come and gone all season. Is it the kind of thing where an extra day of rest helps, or is it just he wakes up, he sees how he feels, and that's that?
Yeah, that's it's the ultimate day-to-day with Aaron. I will say that Aaron, through those last 3 games into the playoffs, has pushed that thing. And he's taking a chance every time he explodes and jumps. And we know what he's doing for our team. We know that there's a risk there. And if it was during the regular season, I don't think this would be happening. I think we'd be managing him just like he was, taking games off, trying to get to the end of this marathon that we call the regular season. So Aaron's a warrior. How good was he in Game 7? So efficient, did so many small things, and one of the craziest lob dunks I've ever seen in a game like that. So Aaron is incredible, man. The Game 4, the play he made, that's an all-time series from Aaron Gordon.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thanks, guys. 9 p.m. tip-off.
Right here, David.